welcome to the second day, sorry. For some of them it's the first day actually. Some of them, yeah. Pour qui c'est le premier jour, levez la main. First day? It's the first day. How was the party last night? Yeah? Did you have fun? Yeah? Yeah, you were the balloon guys. Et vous avez passé une bonne soirée hier? Okay. Bon, alors, est-ce qu'on a des questions pour cette matinée? Pour commencer cette matinée.
Hi, first, love you guys. I have a question. What's your favorite line from your character?
Dear.
The girl's gotta eat.
I fell in a hole.
The hell is a Styles?
We protect those who cannot protect themselves.
Mine wasn't a line. It was actually when our eyes were blue and we got to see that we killed innocent people.
I'm worth $5.
Do you think DNA changes?
I just tried to do that in the creepiest voice possible.
Ok. Alors, donc la question c'était quelle était leur phrase du personnage qu'ils ont préféré dire. Donc pour Shelly, c'était quand elle dit dear, quand elle dit chevreuil. Pour Megan, c'était a girl's gotta eat. Il faut bien qu'une fille se débrouille. Pour Dylan, pardon, c'était je suis tombée dans un trou. Pour Hollande, c'était c'est quoi un style? Pour Crystal, c'était la phrase nous aidons ceux qui ne peuvent pas s'aider eux-mêmes. Pour Ellie, en fait, c'était pas une phrase, c'est plutôt le fait que ses yeux deviennent bleus. Pour Ayette, c'était je vaux $5. Et pour Freud, c'était tu crois au changement d'ADN. C'est la phrase exacte en français, mais c'est quelque chose comme ça. On a une question suivante.
Hi. J'aimerais savoir ce que vous faites quand vous n'êtes pas en tournage.
What do you do when you're not shooting? When you're not on set? What do you like to do?
Auditions.
What do you like to do? And it's an audition?
Like hobbies.
Yeah, like exercise.
What we like to do, right? I like to get drunk. No cats.
Go to the gym, read, hang out with my friends. Yeah, pretty fun.
I love to cook. I just started cooking, seriously cooking like 2 years ago, and now I love it. I really love cooking for my friends and family, and yeah, it's my favorite.
I would say reading and hiking. Like I love the outdoors, so I love mountains in particular. So I'll do a lot of like audiobooks, and I hike, and like camp. I love camping, so that's kind of usually where I am. Yeah.
I like doing Muay Thai and wrestling, and I like reading and spending time with my girlfriend.
Yeah, exercising. I just got into yoga. I love doing also some like Barry's boot camp, which is just some intense stuff. And I also really tired. I got into cooking as well. I love doing yes, no, it's okay. I love cooking hors d'oeuvres, just getting all into that, and yeah, auditioning. I hate it, but it's what I do in my spare time.
Lucky. I love to dance, and Spanish, Duolingo, my app. terrible.
I'll take one of your answers. Alors, du coup, la question c'était qu'est-ce qu'ils aiment faire quand ils sont pas sur des tournages. Dylan a d'abord répondu rien. Et après, il a dit qu'il aimait du coup ses combats de montagne qu'il fait, lire et passer du temps avec sa copine. Froy a répondu passer des auditions. Megan a répondu aller faire de la gym ou du yoga et cuisiner également. Ryan lui a répondu boire. Voilà. Et Ellie a répondu faire du sport, lire et passer du temps avec ses amis. Pour Crystal, c'est cuisiner, puisqu'elle s'est mise assez sérieusement il y a 2 ans et elle aime bien cuisiner pour ses amis et sa famille. Pour Hollande, c'est lire et passer beaucoup de temps dehors, marcher beaucoup, en écoutant des audiolivres et faire du camping. Et pour Shelly, c'est danser et apprendre l'espagnol. Voilà. On a une autre question.
Hello. Alors je vais poser en français par contre. Si vous vivez dans une autre époque, laquelle ce serait?
If you were living in another era, which one would it be? Like in another century? Or which one would you choose?
The 60s.
Considering my ancestry, right now.
Probably the best time. Yeah. Maybe the 90s, like in Seattle during. What? No, like the early. I wish I like the early 90s when like Nirvana was a big thing. Like I wish I lived in Seattle when like those bands were all around because they were all friends and like I would have loved to have been in a band like that. Now all music is shit, so. Let me know how it was, yeah.
I would say like the dinosaurs. Caveman times.
I think before the fall of the Roman Empire would have been really, I love ancient Rome. It's really intriguing.
Literally any time before social media. No, but like probably the 70s, 1970s.
I go in the future. You guys are all crazy. Death, disease. No, thank you.
Men ruled.
Huh?
But men ruled.
I lived to my 21. Dead.
What?
Oh. I was just gonna say what Ryan said, but if I had to go back probably the thousands, just like 10 years ago.
Donc du coup, la question c'était de savoir à quelle autre époque ils auraient aimé habiter. Donc, ils auraient pu vivre, pardon. Pour Shelly, c'est les années 60. Pour Megan, c'est plutôt maintenant. Vu ce qu'elle est, c'est plutôt maintenant. Pour Dylan, ce serait les années 90. Seattle, début des années 90, quand il y avait Nirvana et ce genre de groupe, que tout le monde se connaissait, que tout le monde était amis. Il aurait bien aimé être dans un groupe à ce moment-là pour pouvoir un peu traîner avec ses groupes. Pour Roland, ce serait l'époque des dinosaures. Pour Crystal, ce serait plutôt à l'époque de l'Empire romain. Pour Ellery, ce serait n'importe quand avant les réseaux sociaux, pardon, ou alors les années 70. Pour Yann, ce serait le futur en fait. Enfin, nettement le futur, ce serait beaucoup plus intéressant. Et pour Freud, qui allait dire aussi le futur, sinon ce serait plutôt le début des années 2000. Donc il n'y a pas si longtemps que ça. On a une autre question.
Hello. So my question is like, what's the best advice you can give to people when you feel bad? Because every time you post like some positive things or anything, it always helps me. So what's the best advice you can tell us?
The best piece of advice you could give to someone who feels bad.
Dance it off.
Yeah, or sad.
Dance it off.
So good.
You want to start down there?
The pressure is on. The thing that I always do whenever I get in a rut is I just try to remind myself that it's only temporary. That like it may feel really shitty right now, and there's nothing you can really do to make it feel less shitty. But it's important to know that like it will pass, and that the way that you're feeling and your situation is only going to last for a little while. and then I try to focus on taking action. Like, usually when I get really sad or down on myself, I want to stay in my room all day, and I want to like kind of throw a little pity party. But that's not like productive. So if I find any action, like whether it's working out or whether it's just going outside, whether it's just hanging out with a friend, like it could be the smallest thing, but just like finding an action, executing it, and then giving yourself a pat on the back for doing that, that like lightens my mood for the whole day if I'm not feeling the greatest. So that's what I would say. Baby steps.
That's weird.
When I'm happy, I'm in my room all by myself, locked away.
Me too.
So that's my happy moment. So I mean, it's going to get smaller because we're going to keep touching on similar things. But one thing you guys have to know is, even us, like, you know, you guys sometimes look at us and think we probably have magical lives, but we have depression, we have days where we feel like crap, we have days where we feel terrible, insecurities, like, we're humans just like you guys. So one thing I always want people to understand is you guys aren't alone. Like, whatever you're going through, there are people out there that are going through similar situations. And I know that doesn't make it better, but you just have to know that you have friends and family and people out there that love and cherish you, and you have to hold on to them for that. You know, it's just, even at the lowest point in your life, you just have to realize that it's going to get better. So take it one day at a time, and just try to surround yourself with good people.
Yeah, I think when I'm feeling down, I do things that make me happy. Like, because for me, like, if I just stay in my room, it doesn't help me at all. So like you said too, like being productive and going out, hanging out with my friends, going to the gym, going outside, reading, doing things that make me happy. Also, I really agree with what you said. Like, we all have problems, you know, and there's someone out there that's going through the same thing as you, and also like time heals. So just taking time and realizing that this like whatever you're in right now, like you said, will pass, and it does pass. Yeah.
I think it's important to realize that it is completely fine to feel sad. It's not a bad thing. In fact, it only feels really bad when you try to actively push it away. Some of the most beautiful literature and poetry and art and exploration has come from people feeling sad. And in fact, if we didn't feel sad, we wouldn't know what it would be to feel happiness. If we didn't have heartbreak, we wouldn't know what extreme love would feel like. Sadness is a part of our human experience, and it's something that we need to experience. And I think that when you accept, okay, I feel sad today, and you don't try to actively push against it, then it lightens it. And I think it's important to realize that it's just part of it, and we actually need it. And it's can provide great perspective if you let it and learn from it.
What do I do? I play with my dog. Yeah. And I call my friends and my family, and like what Crystal said, you know, I think depression and sadness are two different things. Depression is a disorder, and figuring out whether that's, you know, I have a belief that like a lot of our societal habits are causing a lot of depression, not so much sadness, but depression. And I do feel like before I try to medicate with prescriptions, like I do believe that for me personally, it's usually like a diet or exercise problem. If I feed myself with the right foods and the right kind of movement, I automatically feel better. Not necessarily, you know, sadness I think is a different category for depression. So for me, it's trying to like heal the natural way, and then figuring out in your body, is this a true chemical imbalance where I need extra outside assistance with therapy and medication, or is this a problem where it's actually what I'm just feeding myself and treating myself, because I think, you know, the food and diet industry is not the healthiest. So if I walk away from that and just try and eat like whole foods, seriously, like makes me feel better. But the sadness thing, I think, is a different thing. I think that's circumstantial with your life, and yeah, I think crying and being able to like be with yourself, that's the human condition. So depends on what it is.
think that one of the most important skills to have, and it's something that takes time to learn, is understanding. Whether that be understanding yourself or understanding everyone else, and always trying to take a deep breath and understand when you're hurting, where it's coming from. Kind of what Holland was saying, you know, there's two types of depression. There's inner depression that you're born with, and there's also environmental depression, which is when outside things and people, what people say and what your environment's telling you affects you in a negative way. So it's being able to understand where this negative feeling is coming from is very important. And I think also knowing yourself more than anybody else, and knowing that no one understands you as well as you do, even if your parents or your friends trying to tell you they know you better, they don't. You know yourself better than anyone else, and it takes time to learn who you really are. There's so many different sides to one person. But to be able to not let what anyone says affect you, and only let yourself be that person that can help you grow and change is very important. Obviously, understand when someone's giving you good advice versus bad advice. You can take good advice, but to be your own best friend and to love yourself before anybody else. And everyone said something good. You know, when I'm sad, I like to go work out. I like to do something that I feel like I'm physically and mentally progressing in, something that's making me a better person in one way or another. That's with reading, with writing, with working out, with going on a walk, anything that gets you to do something that isn't just staying still. And that can even be just mental, like just sitting in your room and reading. So always progressing, always doing something to grow as a person and to become a more positive person, whatever that is for you. Everyone's different, and understanding that everyone's different, no one's the same. No matter how similar you feel to somebody, we're all different. That's it.
For me, I mean, I think it's just important to know that, you know, how people choose to deal with their own issues, it's different for everyone. Like, there's no prerequisite that's going to work for every single individual. I know for me, like, I go up and down with sadness and depression all the time. And so, although it's really good sometimes to get out, for me, like, I have to sit at home and wallow in it for a little bit. Like, I have to acknowledge, like, oh, I feel like shit right now. I feel so bad right now. And then I try to explore, why do I feel that way? Okay, where is this coming from? And sometimes I just don't know. But I'll just allow myself to feel it. And then when I'm trying to do better, I'll actually work in my gratitude journal, which I recommend everybody should have. At the end of the day, just write down 5 things that you're grateful for. Even if, like, there wasn't really anything that you liked about the day. Like, just write down, you know what, I'm thankful that my eyes were open today. I'm thankful that I can speak today. I'm thankful that I ate like a blueberry muffin. Because, you know, there's people out there, they're not opening their eyes, they can't speak, they're not eating a blueberry muffin. So, like, if you just somehow get the attention off of your depression and your sadness and you start focusing on things that you're thankful for, you can just only hope that those things will start to come into your life as well. But don't just think that, like, oh, let me just ignore the fact that I'm depressed right now, let me just go be thankful. No, sit with your depression, figure out why is it that you feel that way, and then start working on what you're thankful for. That's just my 2 cents. Dancing.
I can't top that.
That seems pretty good. Ok, donc la question c'était de savoir quel était le meilleur conseil qu'il pouvait donner à quelqu'un qui se sentait mal, qui se sentait pas bien dans sa journée, qui se sentait triste. Donc Chélie a tout de suite répondu, il faut danser jusqu'à ce que ça aille mieux. Ça peut marcher pour certains. Pour Freud, il voulait insister sur le fait que rien n'est permanent. Tout finit toujours par passer, et qu'il faut se dire ça absolument, et qu'il faut aussi essayer d'être productif, d'agir. Pas forcément rester dans sa chambre, faut vraiment essayer de faire des choses, et surtout des petites choses qui nous font du bien. Y aller pas à pas, ne pas prendre de trop grosses décisions ou d'aller trop vite en besogne. Vraiment y aller tranquillement, faire des petits trucs, mais vraiment essayer de faire quelque chose. Pour Ryan, lui par contre, c'est plutôt l'inverse, parce que lui il est content quand il reste dans sa chambre et qu'il fait rien, lui ça lui convient très bien, donc voilà. Mais lui, Ryan, il voulait insister sur le fait que eux, les acteurs, ils vivent aussi des mauvais jours. Ils sont aussi déprimés des fois, c'est aussi des êtres humains, ils vivent exactement ces mêmes choses. Et pour lui, ce qui est important, c'est de ne pas rester seul. De passer du temps avec ses amis, avec sa famille, de prendre des choses chaque jour l'un après l'autre, et puis du coup de voir comment ça se passe, mais vraiment de ne pas rester seul, le moins possible. Pour Ellery, elle insiste aussi sur le fait qu'il faut faire des choses qui nous rendent heureux. Sortir, lire, on a tous des problèmes, mais ça aussi, ça finit par passer. Mais du coup, il faut faire des choses qui nous font plaisir et qui nous rendent heureux. Christelle, elle a insisté sur le fait de se dire qu'en fait, être triste, être déprimé, c'est normal. Ça nous arrive à tous. Et au contraire, ce qui n'est pas bien, c'est de refouler cette tristesse. Je suis en train de... Et du coup, en fait, elle voulait aussi préciser que en fait, c'est en se sentant mal qu'on arrive à apprécier quand on se sent bien. C'est quand on est vraiment mal qu'on peut vraiment apprécier le fait de se dire ben là, maintenant, je me sens bien et je sais que je me sens bien parce que je sais ce que ça fait de se sentir mal. Pour Hollande, c'est passer du temps avec son chien ou alors appeler ses amis, appeler sa famille. Et elle a aussi précisé que la dépression et la tristesse, c'est pas la même chose. La dépression, c'est plutôt une maladie et du coup, elle trouve que dans notre société actuelle, c'est ça qui causait beaucoup de dépression et qu'il fallait faire un travail personnel et plutôt naturel avec soi-même pour essayer d'aller mieux par la suite. Dylan lui a insisté sur le fait qu'il fallait beaucoup penser à la compréhension. En fait, ce qui est important, c'est de comprendre ce qui ne va pas, de comprendre ce qui va, de comprendre pourquoi ça ne va pas bien. De comprendre si on vit une dépression ou si on est plutôt triste, parce que c'est pas la même chose, de savoir faire la part des choses entre les deux, et aussi de se dire qu'en fait on se connaît mieux que personne, personne ne nous connaît mieux que nous, et du coup forcément savoir aussi reconnaître quels sont les bons conseils, les moins bons conseils, mais surtout en fait c'est vraiment comprendre ce qu'on vit et savoir qu'on se connaît mieux que personne dans tous les cas. Et personnellement, pour lui, ce qui l'aide à aller mieux, c'est de faire du sport ou de faire juste quelque chose en fait qui lui fait du bien. Pour Megan, elle voulait insister aussi sur le fait que c'est différent pour chacun. Chacun vit des jours tristes d'une manière ou d'une autre, chacun le règle à sa façon. Donc il n'y a pas vraiment de méthode entre guillemets, c'est chacun qui gère comme il veut. Pour elle, par exemple, quand ça va pas, elle a besoin de rester chez elle, de se dire mais ça va pas, et d'essayer de comprendre pourquoi, et de voir qu'est-ce qui pourrait du coup la faire aller mieux. Et ce qu'elle recommande en fait, c'est d'avoir un journal, ce qu'elle fait, un journal où tous les jours elle écrit 5 choses pour lesquelles elle est reconnaissante. Ça peut être des choses très basiques, très basiques, genre ouvrir les yeux, lire, manger un gâteau, manger un muffin, n'importe quoi, parce qu'il y a des gens qui ne peuvent pas faire ça, mais certains peuvent le faire. Donc il faut, ça, elle conseille vraiment de faire ça parce que c'est vraiment bien. Et du coup, oui, j'ai dit c'était dans ça. Voilà. Voilà. Du coup, bah voilà. On a fini pour le panel de ce matin. Donc les extras vont bientôt commencer, donc je vous conseille tous de rester dans la salle pour bien savoir quand ce sera votre tour et quels acteurs seront en extra. Vous pouvez tous vous lever pour applaudir les acteurs.